Yo, how are you all? Welcome to the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the unique two-handed weapons and shields of Skyrim. In this video, there will not be any quest items included, because once you hand a quest item in, it is no longer yours. I will not be showing you the locations of any of these items. There are plenty of excellent videos already on YouTube from other YouTubers showing you the locations of these items. Also, this video shouldn't be any longer than it needs to be. And it needs to be very long. Some of these unique weapons do have multiples, as in there are more than one of them, but they are unique in the nature that they only come from one location or special dungeon or quest. All of these weapons will be done in category. I'll have the category times in the description, so if you want to skip to a particular category, you can check the description. The weapons that you're going to see here are from the original Skyrim and all 3 expansions, and their weapons are included in this video. Also, any enchantments on these weapons will vary in level. So the stats of a particular enchantment that you see on a weapon in this video will not necessarily reflect the enchantment of the weapon on your character. It'll all depend on the level of your character. I'd also like to apologize for the gap in videos, but this took a very long time to acquire all of these unique weapons. Now, next up we have the two-handed weapons. First up we have the battle axes. Now this Axe of Eastmarch, Axe of Whiterun, and the Blade of the Reach are actually 3 hold weapons, and they will be completely random base damage, they'll be completely random base item, and they'll be completely random enchantments. So I'm not going to cover these because they'll be completely different for everyone, and it will be quite hard to pinpoint whether these 3 weapons are actually useful or not. So with that said, we'll go straight to the Drainblood Battle Axe. Quite a cool looking axe. It's a spectral axe. This has a base damage of 21. This is actually quite mid-range base damage for a battle axe, and that enchantment is quite useful. Absorbs 15 points of health. Very useful enchantment. Next we have the Headsman's Axe, which has a base damage of 17, but that is a very low base damage for a two-handed axe. It has a unique skin, as you can see there, and it has no enchantment. Next we have the Steel Battle Axe of Fiery Souls. This has a base damage of 18, which is not a very high base damage whatsoever for a battle axe. The enchantment, if the target dies within 5 seconds, fills a soul gem, burns the target for 10 points. Targets on fire take extra damage. Now that Soul Trap enchantment is quite useful. The fire enchantment is an okay enchantment, and the base damage is quite poor. There are definitely better two-handed weapon choices. Next we have the Rueful Axe. Now this has a base damage of 22, and as you can see, it does 20 points of stamina damage. This is a very mid-range two-handed axe and has a very cool unique skin, as you can see there. Next we have the Woodman's Friend. Now this has a base damage of 17. This is not a very powerful two-handed axe. It looks pretty cool. It has no enchantment. Again, there's definitely better choices for two-handed weapons. And lastly, for the two-handed axes, the battle axes, we have Wulthrad. This is a fairly powerful two-handed axe. This actually has the highest base damage of any unique battle axe in the game, with a base damage of 25. Very cool unique skin that it has there, and that enchantment, especially deadly to elves. Very useful for wiping out those filthy Thalmor. And next up for the unique weapons, we have the two-handed swords, the Great Swords. Now, the first 3 here, the Blade of Falkrith, the Blade of Jalamarch, and the Blade of Whiterun are, again, hold weapons. They are scaled completely randomly depending on your level and character. They'll have a randomly generated base damage, a randomly generated base item, and a randomly generated enchantment. So I'm not going to cover these because it will be completely different for everyone's character and very hard for me to assess whether these are powerful weapons or not. So first up we have the Blood Skull Blade. Very cool looking sword, very unique skin, as we can see there. The Blood Skull Blade has a base damage of 21, which is actually the highest base damage for any unique two-handed sword in Skyrim. The enchantment releases energy blasts with power attacks that deal 30 damage. This is very cool because this is actually ranged as well. So if the enemy's running at you, before they actually come into contact with you, you can still damage them with these ranged energy blast attacks. Very cool sword there. Next we have the Ebony Blade, a very cool looking sword. It's the only sword in the game that has that katana shape and is a two-handed weapon. Now this only has a base damage of 11, but absorbs the life essence of your foes, strengthened by the blood of deceit. So the more people you kill that are friendly to you, it will make this sword stronger. Because I'm not a sadistic maniac, I have killed no one that is friendly to me. So this sword is quite weak, but it will get more and more powerful the more friendly NPCs you kill. It will cap at a certain point. So this does actually have the potential to be a very, very powerful two-handed sword. And lastly, for the unique two-handed swords, we have Storm Fang. Now this has the same skin as the Steel Skyforged sword. This only has a base damage of 17, which isn't actually too bad. The enchantment targets take 30 points of shock damage and half as much to magicka. So they'll take 30 points of shock damage and 15 points to magicka damage. That's quite a powerful enchantment. Unfortunately, the relatively weak base damage of the sword lets that enchantment down. Next, for the unique weapons, we have the Warhammers, the two-handed maces. Now first off, we have Aegis Bane. This has a base damage of 18, and as we can see, the enchantment target takes 5 points of frost damage to health and stamina. Now that is quite a low base damage and quite a weak enchantment, so it's not actually very powerful at all. Next we have the Champion's Kurgil. This is quite a powerful Warhammer with a base damage of 24. As we can see, the enchantment, 50% chance for each element of fire, frost and shock to do 25 points of damage. Now I do believe that enchantment means that it could hit with all three at once. It could hit with 2, 1 or 0. So quite a powerful hammer. It's got a unique skin and it looks pretty damn cool. Next we have the Dawnguard Rune Hammer. Now this has 22 points of base damage. Now this enchantment is very, very powerful. Bashing places a rune on a nearby surface. The rune explodes for 50 points of fire damage when enemies come near. Very useful if the enemies haven't got to you yet, or if you have a big group of enemies attacking you, you can just bash the ground and essentially have the same effect as a fire rune that you would use from the destruction skill tree. Very, very powerful weapon and a very unique enchantment as well. Next we have the Long Hammer. Now the Long Hammer has a base damage of 21, which is not that good. It has a base item of Orcish Warhammer, I do believe. And the enchantment, Rad's Warhammer. The reduced weight allows it to be swung more quickly, so this is useful for swift attacks. Next we have Troll's Bane. This has a base damage of 20, and as we can see, burns trolls for 15 points. This is quite useful because trolls are actually weak to fire, so the fact that it burns trolls, this will be quite a powerful weapon against trolls. Perhaps some people could use this in their YouTube comment section. And lastly, for the unique Warhammers of Skyrim, we have Voldendrang. This has a base damage of 25, which makes it the unique Warhammer with the highest base damage in Skyrim. And that enchantment absorbs 50 points of stamina, is incredibly effective against warrior type enemies. Very powerful, very intense looking skin it's got there. The head of that mace is brutal. Now we have the unique shields of Skyrim. First up, for the unique shields, we have the Ethereal Shield. Now the Ethereal Shield has a base armor of 26. And if we take a look, it obviously has a very unique skin. It looks similar to a Dwarven shield, but it has that ethereal touch, the blue. Enemies struck by the shield will become ethereal for 15 seconds, making them unable to attack or be attacked. Now a lot of people do enjoy this shield. They think that is quite a useful effect to disable the enemy. Personally, I don't like that. I like to kill the enemies as quick as possible, making them unable to be attacked for 15 seconds. I'm very rarely in a situation where I need to not be attacked at all, i.e. a situation where I'd have to use that bash attack to my advantage. So for me personally, this shield is not very useful. Next we have Ariel's or Uriel's Shield. This has a base armor of 32, very cool unique skin as you can see there. Stores the energy of blocked attacks, performing a power bash for release the stored energy. That is very cool. Unlike the other Ariel's items, it's not based around the undead or affecting them even more. This is a very powerful shield. It has a relatively high base armor, and that enchantment is very powerful. Next we have the Dawn Guard Rune Shield. Now this has a base armor of 27. Very cool, unique skin, as you can see there. A bit of a swastika in the middle. No, it's a Celtic knot. Oh, good. Now the enchantment, let's take a look. Plus 10 bash damage against vampires, and sustained blocking creates a minor sun shield, doing 10 points of damage while draining the wielder's stamina. That sun shield is a very cool and unique effect, so that does have the potential to be a very powerful light armor unique shield. Next we have Herabane's Fortress. Increases frost resistance by 50%. That's okay. And it has a base armor of 21. Not very impressive at all. Next we have the Shield of Solitude. Now this actually has a base armor of 32, which is the second highest base armor for any unique shield in Skyrim, sharing the same base armor with Ariel's shield. The enchantment increases magic resistance by 30%, block 30% more, and damage with your shield. This is a very powerful unique shield, only trumped by 1. But that enchantment is very cool. Like I said, it does have the second highest base armor of any unique shield in Skyrim. Now next up we have the Shield of Ysgramor. Very powerful shield. This has a base armor of 30, and the enchantment increases magic resistance by 20%, increases your health by 20 points. That's quite useful, but the Shield of Solitude is better, has a higher base armor and actually a stronger enchantment as well. Now next we have the Taj of the Blooded. Very cool shield, unique skin. That is one crude shield. When bashing, does 3 points of bleeding damage for 5 seconds. So essentially when you bash over 5 seconds, you'll end up doing 15 points of bleeding damage to the enemy. That's pretty cool. I think it's one of the only shields that does damage when you bash, or it does extra bleeding damage when you bash. This has a base armor of 20, so that's really not that good. That's actually the lowest base armor of any unique shield in Skyrim. And it's a heavy armor shield too. Not that good. And I saved the best for last, Spellbreaker. Now Spellbreaker has the highest base armor of any unique shield in Skyrim, with a base armor of 38. This is a heavy armor shield, and the enchantment on this pretty much makes it trump any shield that you could create yourself. While blocking, creates a ward that protects against spells for up to 50 points. Now normally the downside to a shield is that it only protects you against physical attacks. Now Spellbreaker, as I said before, has the highest base armor of any unique shield in Skyrim, making it the best unique shield in Skyrim to ward off physical attack damage, and while you're blocking, it creates a ward that protects you against spells for up to 50 points. Very powerful. It's good for stopping any kind of damage. Very cool shield, and I mean, look at that. That is a sick shield. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you discovered some more items that you did not know existed within Skyrim. Be sure to check out my other Skyrim Unique Items videos. I would like to thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, feel free to correct me on anything. If you noticed that I'd left out any unique items in this video, be sure to let me know. Let me know of any video ideas that you have, and be sure to leave a like. I would like to thank you again very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, have a great day.